Okay, well, the wall clock indicates it's 7, so I will call us to order for this Plattsburgh Town Board work session, February 23rd. I have the sign-in sheet. No one indicated an interest in addressing the board this evening, so we'll move right along with the agenda. The item that was probably the biggest and one that would have consumed the most time this evening is going to be rescheduled. Commissioner Castine called today. She's ill. She was unable to come. I think Deborah did provide some information for you in the packets that she sent out last week. I would advise everyone to hold on to it because we will reschedule the meeting. We'll have to find out what's a good time for the commissioners for the purpose of discussing election districts in polling places. Number 2, we have a number of travel requests, and I asked Deborah to move that into its own slot as well as the resolutions, because I just wanted to make sure we took a look at that as a whole. You've got, of course, our finance officer, finance manager. We've been discussing some fiscal issues that are coming out currently. Planning has a number of requests. As you know, they don't do the New York City trip anymore. They used to go. The Planning and Codes boards both used to go. Then we requested that they reduce their numbers, go in alternate years, and we've been trying to find less expensive opportunities for them to travel. These become timely because for the workshops you oftentimes have to pre-register, as you well know. The workshops, the training sessions are many times predicated on the number of registrants, so the program needs to know how many people are going as early as they can, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's very important if the event is being held in a hotel that we get lodging in the hotel. There are a lot of, I think, positive reasons for that. Several planning members and planning board members hoping to be able to attend. I don't know if you have any questions on that.
No, I think it's good. We have a good number, and it's a mix of those that are experienced and the newer people. And I think that's important that they go, especially since most of them haven't been training recently. Because last year, I don't believe only 2 went down to
I think you're right.
New York. So it's important that they get the training.
Codes and planning, the various projects that the town has, they're very diverse, commercial, residential, industrial. We have a hotel going up. We had some discussion about that earlier. There was some questions surfacing about another asphalt plant. This evening you're going to entertain a resolution in support of medicinal marijuana. We all know the state will issue the licenses. That's not going to be the town's job, and there will be some regulations there with health department, et cetera. But again, our planning department and our codes departments are constantly facing new issues. Solar was one we addressed quite a bit last year to try to get the planning department up to speed, because we're seeing a number of solar units coming into residential properties, and with codes as well, putting these things on a roof of a home. So, right, I agree, the training is important. We don't often get a department to go. This is a department of 3. No one asked yet. I'll volunteer. I questioned why their planning department secretary was going. I got some good answers back. She does more than clerical secretarial work. With a small department, many times she's the one in the office to answer the phone. Some knowledge is valuable to help give good responses, maybe to redirect the caller. I could see the value. of course, they're requesting we might the same. Anyone have any concerns with any of that packet of requests?
I just want to stay, I had a conversation with Phil about our support staff going, and one of the challenges that I put to him is, I think that we really should have them provide an in-service, have a conversation as a department to find out what the value is after this conference, to evaluate it in the future. I think that there's potential for some great value for the department, but afterwards I think it needs to be evaluated also. And it doesn't, necessitate, that means that this shouldn't be something ongoing every year, depending on what some of these workshops are too. So I think that needs to be pretty clear. He understood that.
Okay, so he's going to provide some feedback?
Yep.
Good. The other one, there's some water, wastewater training, and I know that those of you that are on the committee are maybe a little closer to the needs there, but it's become very difficult to find licensed, trained, experienced individuals to meet some of those position requirements. If we had a need today and put an ad in the paper, we probably wouldn't get any applicants. I know within the municipalities, and there aren't that many that have public water systems, there's some real concern. We have two new employees who've shown a lot of promise, a lot of interest, good work ethics, the aptitude, and what we're hoping to do is get that training done in-house. I was telling someone today in a conversation, I never realized until I came here exactly what the municipality goes through to assure we have safe public drinking water. And the number of tests, the compliance issues. We get a lot of applicants, want a good job, and they've worked construction, they put some pipe down, et cetera, and they think they might be able to work for us. It takes a great deal more than that. These trainings are crucial to their potential to become certified and licensed. And I'm actually pretty pleased we've got a couple of individuals that are interested and qualified, so we can build the capacity in-house.
It's a very detailed list of what they're going to do each day, and I feel like after reading through this that a grade B water treatment plant operator is something I don't want to be.
There's a lot of responsibility, as there should be.
There's a lot there.
We had a meeting, kind of a regional meeting with Teresa Bipley a few years ago from the state, who expressed at that time, statewide, they saw a growing concern with trained operators, licensed trained. It's not just on-the-job training. So we're fortunate they're going forward with that. That's all my comments. Anyone have any other comments, concerns,
We
issues
also
with
did
any of
one
that?
for finance department, or you already mentioned
And
that.
the finance department, yeah, that,
And that was pretty detailed, there's quite a few courses there.
we go through sometimes, what do we duplicate for the paper flow and everything else. And, I indicated to Deborah, I thought she should give you that very detailed training for those water positions especially, because I think it helps us understand what do they need to know, what do they need to do. Otherwise, we just, it's a training session. We kind of dust it. Okay? Let's go right down to draft resolutions. We've got the minutes, as always. Please let me know if you discover something in there sooner rather than later. Monthly reports, you had some, and I believe Deborah said she produced some new ones that you received. I don't have them. Our red folder is the official folder for new items to be distributed. I don't have anything in there, but I know there were some new reports.
Just a summary report?
Did you?
Your summary report?
Okay, yes, the supervisor's summary report. If you got that, that was the new one, so you're all set.
Well, I didn't see any old ones.
There were some prior. Without the meeting last week, old and new becomes relative, I guess. For example, code zoning were made available earlier. It may not make any difference with your reports. We have an abstract that we do need to act on this evening. And we still have to keep the bills going.
Are we going to be acting on the Board of Ethics tonight? Yeah, it's not numbered, so I didn't
That's not one for action this evening, but when we get to that one, if there's some discussion, we'll let that come out also. So we have resolution 54, 53, first of all, the abstract.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 2C-15, 176 to 264 for $584,897.97, and abstract 2C-15, 42 to 58 prepays in the amount of $285,426.04, and abstract 2C-15, 2590 to 2602 for $1,419,175.55, and abstract 2C 534 to 535 prepays in the amount of $672.81 be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisors hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Michael Lefebvre,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution continues. Next resolution, 54, is a request to attend the annual GFOA conference. And this is one in particular that the pre-registration is important on. You have that information. If we can bring that one in.
Where it is in the best interest of the town accounting department to update technical knowledge and new regulations informing regulations, government finance. Now therefore be resolved that Patrick Bowen of the accounting department be allowed to attend the New York State GFO conference held on March 26th through the 27th in Albany, New York. It is further resolved that $222 for lodging and $205 for registration, meals included, to be charged to the accounting department budget. And to be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Cashman, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Michael Lefebvre.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, the resolution carries. Resolution 55, request to attend a Grade B water treatment operator certification course.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water and Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and certification. Whereas the Safe Drinking Water Act and the New York State Department of Health requires operators to be certified Grade 2B water treatment operators based on the size and complexity of the town of Plattsburgh public water system. Whereas to become a certified operator is required to meet certain educational training and experience requirements to be certified. Now therefore be resolved that David Loop of the Water and Wastewater Department be allowed to attend Grade B water treatment plant operator certification training course held on April 27th through May 1st, 2015 in Cortland, New York. And to be further resolved that $620 for lodging and meals and $575 for registration for the training of David Loop to be charged to the Water and Wastewater budget account number. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, Water and Wastewater director, and when put in Mr. Loop's personnel file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second.
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 Ms. Lefebvre, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Michael Lefebvre,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 56, request to attend Grade B water treatment operator certification course.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and certification. Whereas the Safe Drinking Water Act and New York State Department of Health requires the operators to be certified as Grade 2B water treatment operators based on the size and complexity of the town of Plattsburgh public water system. Whereas to become a certified operator is required to meet certain educational and training experience requirements to be certified. Now therefore be resolved that Matthew Rabideau of the Water and Wastewater Department be allowed to attend Grade B water treatment plant operator certification training course to be held on April 27th through May 1st, 2015 in Cortland, New York. And it be further resolved that $620 for lodging and meals and $575 for registration for the training of Matthew Rabideau to be charged to the Water and Wastewater budget account. And it be further resolved that copies of this resolution be given to the finance manager and to the Water and Wastewater director, and one put in Mr. Rabideau's personnel file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Ms. LaFave, second.
Second?
Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Mike LaFave,
Yes.
Mark Manning,
Yes.
Jeremy Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 57, the support of the medical marijuana law and a local processing and dispensing facilities.
Whereas on July 5th, 2014, Governor Cuomo signed into New York medical marijuana law. And whereas New York State Department of Health has established specific regulations under which businesses and licenses on registered organizations of medical marijuana cultivation, production, and sale. Whereas a simple evidence of marijuana is beneficial to the people suffering for chronic and debilitating pain associated with cancer, AIDS, multiple sclerosis, and has also proven effective in alleviating nausea associated with chemotherapy, muscle spasms, and neurological disorders. Whereas the New York Nurses Association, American Academy of Family Physicians, Lymphoma Foundation of America, American Preventative Medical Association, American Public Health Association, Gray Partners, and New England Journal of Medicine have endorsed the medical use of marijuana. Whereas a 2014 Quinnipiac University poll found that 88% of New Yorkers think allow medical marijuana at the recommendation of the doctor is a good idea, with a strong support from all groups. Whereas the town board has interest in ensuring that the residents have access to a valuable medical option that could address symptoms associated with chronic pain and terminal disease. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, town of Plattsburgh, supports New York Assembly Bill 6357, signed into law by Governor Andrew Cuomo on July 5th, 2014. And to be further resolved that the town of Plattsburgh welcomes and encourages appropriately licensed, registered, and regulated medical marijuana business, including cultivation, processing facilities, and dispensaries in the town and the county. And to be further resolved that a copy of this be sent to Governor Cuomo, Senator Little, and Assemblywoman Duper.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Ms. LaFave, any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to clarify in the first resolve that we want them placed in the town of Plattsburgh in Clinton County. And/or if you want to put it that way, but let's be specific. That's what this is. That's what this resolution is for.
So at the very end of that first
Yeah, we
resolve
want to encourage
to...
businesses that apply from this area to be considered to be placed. So, the one that's going to come at the North Country gets placed here.
Isn't that what it says?
The license isn't gonna be that specific, it would only be that
Yeah.
specific to the county. Someone could be in the county but not choose the town though.
As Meg was saying, it reads to me that it does say that we encourage this being located in the town, applying the town of Plattsburgh, and the county.
Of Clinton. Make sure they have the names in there.
In the county of Clinton? I don't think that's-
I'd like to speak to that. I think our responsibility here is to think about the end user,
Mhm.
okay? And I think we do not know who the applicants are going to be for these positions. And I think it's incumbent that we want the best possible providers of medical marijuana to be the people who are going to be selected, and that they should not be selected based on the fact that they're going to locate within our town or within the city of Plattsburgh or but we certainly would like to see them located. We would like to see a facility, okay, located within you know, the upstate counties, because we have a significant number of people who are in need of these facilities. And if they're all grouped downstate, and every time there's, you know, legislation and they're gonna pick 5 of these things, you know, you can worry about how far away from, you know, a central area like Albany are they gonna be located. So I don't have problems with us advocating that there be, you know, facilities located in the upstate area, in the town, in the county, but I don't think we want to be specific in saying that it should be, you know, an applicant that would be located in the town or an applicant that would be located in the city. I'm aware of one applicant that's talking about, you know, one part of their operation would be in the city and another part of their operation would be in the town. I'm aware of another applicant that would be located in a neighboring town. You know, not in our locality, but that doesn't mean that, you know, that they couldn't be selected.
Well, the reason that I think that it should be is that we're in competition, it's another competition. And if it's grown here, if the dispensary's here, they're gonna have the other dispensaries that they can put in other parts of the North Country. So it wouldn't be just Plattsburgh, it would be Watertown.
There's 5 in the whole state,
I
Tom.
understand.
They're not gonna
But
they're not gonna put one in Plattsburgh. and-
Each five have 3 places that they can.
4
put it.
dispensaries, I think.
Exactly. So if it's located here, it's still gonna be dispensed throughout in upper North Country. Okay, so if you're going to have it here, this would bring in the kind of jobs, of revenue, and the kind of paying jobs that we really would like to see in this area.
I think what we're trying to achieve, and I think we're all in agreement, is that we want to see the resource available for those who have a need, part of their healthcare plan. And I think your concern, Marty, we did talk about once before, that it appears this indeed is going to happen in the state of New York. And to have residents who will find this as alleviating their health condition now have to go to Albany to get it, or Long Island. We're not pleased with that. And that's why located in the county of Clinton is probably ideal. Certainly if we
I
get
can
something
go
the
along
town
with
would be
that,
good.
but why even have the resolution if we're not gonna compete?
Well, and you know, you bring something up, Tom, that becomes maybe a bit emotional. It doesn't mean anyway. It seems like a lot of things we've done these last few years, we are supposed to take pleasure in competing for it versus having sufficient for everyone to get a benefit. And I mean, realistically, if we're only allowing 5 in the state, and I don't know what that's based on, what the criteria is, quite obviously, just based on density of population, we're not in a good position. And that's you know, really not fair to the North Country. Why should the North Country have fewer resources just because we don't have the density of population? You know, I don't know what's behind the rationale of only 5. And I've had some conversations with others. We had a presentation at a work session recently. And as we've mentioned to each, and again, I'll underscore something Marty said, we want the best service for the community. And whoever is able to provide that, we hope will be the provider. But why we have to be in this competition? And the one thing we do know, the municipality has little to no control over that. You apply with the state. The state will decide what regions these are awarded to. And we could probably all write 5 names down. I bet we'd have 3 or 4 of them collectively, and that's the way it is. So it's frustrating. And I find it interesting that we're not talking about the ethical discussion, maybe because there isn't one, now whether medicinal marijuana should be made available It's a matter of, it should be available to everyone
So
who
it was
needs it.
available a long time ago, so.
But let's just hope there's something done in the North Country to meet our needs as well, in a manner that doesn't, as so many individuals needing health care, especially our veterans in the North Country, have had to travel to get those services.
Bernie, I think by passing this resolution, what we're doing is sending a message that as an early adopter of this resolution, that hopefully Clinton County becomes one of the 5. But if it doesn't, as the next round and the next round becomes available, that hopefully Clinton County does become a place that allows for folks to have access to this. I mean, I think we all, looked deep within ourselves when this topic started to roll out, to wrestle with some of the personal ethics and, just kind of where we kind of lay, fall on this. And I know lots of us had conversations with caregivers and community folks and doctors and, did research, and I don't think there's any question that we want the best for the people within the town of Plattsburgh, but also all of us should be advocating that we want the best for anyone within the state of New York. And from my perspective, I think that's where we have an opportunity as members of Clinton County to say, we want this as close to home as possible here in the North Country. And I would argue the North Country versus upstate, because that's constantly a battle. I don't want it on the other side of the state. I want it accessible to people, and by passing this resolution, this is a clear signal that hopefully we're one of the 5, if not now, then in the next round, it's an opportunity for us to stay in that race. Because I think a lot of people felt like when the casinos were coming out, that they already knew where they were going. Hopefully that is not necessarily the case with these medical licenses.
I won't even respond to that.
The other thing is that the state has to pick these, and they have to pick, they obviously have to meet some criteria, each one. So if one is picked, I mean, we would have to have good applications, and we don't have control over that. So, by encouraging it here, as Michael has said, not only will we be trying for this one, but the next one.
Well, as you know, the resolution ends with a certified copy of the resolution going to the governor's office, Senator Little, and to Assemblywoman Dupree. I will obviously be doing a cover letter that will express what's been said this evening and our position on this as far as location. But again, no matter what, only 5 in the state. And Buffalo wants it, New York wants it, Rochester wants it, probably everyone else. So, to me, my frustration is we just keep finding ourselves in competition with each other for things that should not have to be competitive, but that should be made available. Because it's good, as you said, Michael, for all New Yorkers. Why do we have to talk upstate, downstate, east, or west?
But when we've
And
gone
that's
for,
frustrating.
when we've gone for grants, yes, we've had to compete, but had we not competed, we wouldn't have those grants and wouldn't have what we do have.
Well, a lot of times we got the grants because we were regional, not because we were the town, or the city,
Correct.
or the county. So that's why
Thank
we
you.
need to support the city and the county and even a little bit further beyond there.
And I think the language of what this resolution says is exactly the language we want to convey. That we are going on record as saying that we're welcoming this in the town of Plattsburgh if we were to be selected.
That's right.
Period. Not, we're not telling them what to do. We're just going on record that we're here and we would welcome.
I think it's also very fitting that we're doing this in a timely fashion after the city of Plattsburgh passed one, because we continue to draw attention that this region is accepting of this. It wasn't just the town, it just wasn't the city, but, Plattsburgh Squared, is looking to advocate on behalf of our region this way.
Mr. Cashman, you made the motion amending as indicated by Tom, just clarifying the county of Clinton. Does that
I have no issue.
still work with you, Meg? So that would be amended to read in the town and county of Clinton. Any other discussion on the resolution? If not, I would ask for a motion, or, excuse me, a roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman, Michael Fay,
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. I'll be sure to share with each of you the cover letter that goes off of this to our elected officials. The next item that we have is a draft that would be acted on at the next regular meeting. That is the plan, that's why it's a draft now. Anyone have any questions, concerns with the Board of Ethics appointment?
I called up and asked, and I wonder if anybody did any research. When we rescind a law, and then we pass a law in place of it, does that not rescind, because it was placed in the law that we're going to have so many people at such terms be on the committee, and we appointed them, wouldn't we then have to reappoint them to the terms that they have now?
The law didn't have the names of the appointees, it simply was the structure by which they would be appointed, they would function, and so on. And even though we repealed that law to put a new one in place, we made a pretty singular changes in the definition of who the membership would be. I don't think we would be required at all. I look back through the law, I see nothing in the old law or new law that would require any amendment or change in the law, repealing the law that would require new appointments. Counselor, any thoughts?
I would agree with Bernie. I don't think that the fact that we made a small, say, modification of the law requires us to get rid of the current board or anything of that nature. So,
An amendment to a particular law
right,
would not. But when you rescind the law and pass another one,
right.
wouldn't that be considered?
I don't see, no, I don't think so at all. No.
Okay.
No. First of all, I don't think the problem would ever arise. I think I appreciate your concern, but it would not in any way, shape, or manner impact.
I mean, we would obviously appoint the same people to the same terms, but I just want to make sure that...
No, that wouldn't constitute a problem.
Okay.
The next draft you have is a request to purchase a 2015 mini Bobcat mini excavator for the Highway Department. You have a letter from our Highway Superintendent, Mr. Woods, explaining his rationale and what he would propose to do. But at the same time, he had done some research, and he hadn't included that. So I asked him to provide that information to you. You take one of those and pass it down. I think we have sufficient numbers. And the interesting thing is, these were all within state bid, and there were different machines, but he was comparing the features, and as well as the range, a $5,000 range in the trade-in, actually a $6,000 range in the trade-in with his final recommendation. I think you can see he looked hard, he worked hard to find the best deal. He didn't just take the state bid he came across, as well as to factor in the value of his trade-in, which is what leads to his recommendation. I just, you know, he had done the work. Sometimes we're too humble. We do the work and we just, I just didn't share that. So I think that was important to do.
So which one is again?
The Bobcat that he would like, and that's also a local purchase, which is good. And, you know,
Which one is the Bobcat?
Town or city?
Well, it's not one of these.
It's not one of the ones listed in the memo.
On the letter,
He got a curb apparently outside.
the letter,
I've got, well, I don't know, actually don't have all, or I know I've got this letter. Oh, I don't have
There's
that
a
letter.
letter was with the draft resolution, should be attached to this?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not there.
Maybe it's behind the
There should be a letter and the piece I just passed out. The one he's asking to buy is a Bobcat, which is a local purchase. which is always good, but also it's always good when a local vendor can give us a competitive price.
Is this the lowest price?
Yes.
Or the only price?
No,
No,
Oh, good.
no. Yes, it was the lowest of the four that he sought.
Okay.
We also got more of a trade.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's great, yeah.
Yeah, he worked hard on it, long and hard.
Yeah.
I find that the highway superintendent does his homework on a lot of these things and comes up with many used things that they fix up that cost much, much less than.
Exactly, buying a brand new, yeah.
I would agree with you.
That's some of the, I'm listening to you, Tom, and some of what I really encourage the departments to meet with their committee, and as well as I encourage you, they'll go into more detail with you about what's going on than they actually formally submit. And it allows us to bring that information to the meeting and get it shared.
Well, I went out and he showed me the ones that we had and what he was gonna do, and we went through it, so.
That's
I
good.
think he does, if we make the initiative to do it.
Mhm.
What he did with the snowplow is a perfect example. You know, of basically assembling that thing. I mean,
Bought it in pieces,
Yep.
because it was a better deal.
Yep.
So,
And fortunately, we have the kind of staff that can put those things together and keep things running.
Actually, there's a Johnny Cash song like that, One Piece at a Time. I don't know if
Oh,
you remember
no,
that. No,
I-
yeah, he built a car, yeah, he's working on the assembly line, one piece at a time, yeah.
he hasn't asked that we approve that tonight, so,
oh, okay.
I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt his feelings if we did. I don't know, has he indicated anything to you that he'd like to get moving
No,
on that?
well, that's why he had Stephanie type all the stuff to get.
Well, that message didn't get to me, I'd
Oh,
rather,
okay.
I'd rather err on the side of caution.
Yep.
If he needs to get this going, because as we all know, these bids don't last forever, and what difference does a week make?
if we can move it forward tonight, I think it would be.
I think it would be appreciated,
We've,
and maybe it's important, like I said, the message just didn't get to me. This would be number 58 then. I think that's a good idea, I'm glad you brought that up, Rick. Resolution number 58, request to purchase a 2015 Bobcat mini excavator for the highway department.
Whereas it is necessary to maintain equipment for the continued maintenance and improvements of the town highways within the town of Plattsburgh. Whereas purchase and procedure for commodities, equipment, and/or goods, contract values require the town to solicit price quotes in any amount in excess of $5,000 for services. Whereas James Wood, Highway Superintendent, has solicited prices and is requesting permission to place an order for a 2015 Bobcat mini excavator. Whereas the quotes have been received and the total estimate cost of the mini excavator is $46,577.84. Now therefore be resolved that the town board approve the purchase as recommended, and that the highway superintendent is hereby authorized to make said purchase. And it be further resolved that payment be made payable from the 2015 highway budget equipment outlay account, and that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, second. Mr. Cashman. Any just further discussion? I'm going to note we did discuss this because we did prior. I'm sure it will be appreciated, and again, the range is amazing. And these, remember, these were all state contract prices,
This is 20%.
and they're all state
Below.
contract, yeah. Other departments might have just said, hey, I got state contract and ran with it. Roll call, please.
Thomas Wood,
yes,
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Michael Fay.
Yes.
And Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. The next one is another draft request to attend a New York State Planning Federation conference. That one we don't need to act on
is that
until.
is there a deadline for that to get the lower price?
Copies of the
They make copies of everything.
That's an April conference, so I think you'd be fine with the next meeting.
Very good.
That would be the extent of the items I have.
Again, I don't know, the comment I'd make on that is, in the past, many of those people might have considered New York, and the expense we would have incurred would have been substantially more I just did some quick math, and could have made a mistake, but I don't think I did. We're sending 8 people and the cost is less than $300 a head. And that's lodging and meals and the education.
It's a pretty good deal. And less time off
Right.
work as well, because
Right.
it's a shorter event.
Yep.
One last update, I guess. Last week, I had a phone call from Allison Carey, Channel 5. They were working on a story about the impacts the cold weather was having on municipalities, the various water departments, and so on. At that time, we had been through a few days where things had been okay. Prior, a week or two prior, they weren't. It was a bit chaotic. We had gotten some snow, and my comment to her was, well, you know, we've been doing okay. And as we all know, the snow's an
Put the
important
curse on
insulator.
you, didn't it?
Boy, did I put the curse on me. This was a tough weekend for water sewer. And, you know, meter pits, water lines, a lot of them are the laterals to homes. And I was glad to see in the news today, they commented how many times the freeze-ups were because the homeowner or their contractor didn't follow the guidelines they were given as far as depth for these lines to be placed. So we've had some issues. The end of the day, and again, I give our director in that department a lot of credit. He's out there in the field with the guys, mitigating the issue, talking with the property owners, trying to come up with a plan, as well as, you know, finding where is the break, when it's a break in a line. If it's a hydrant, it's a little easy to discover. It's quite difficult. By the end of the day, everything was back, you know, running and managed. Well 1 has been down for a bit. We've got well 8 up and running. I don't think there are any dangers, but every time I hear these things, I keep saying that new well on the Tomarilla Road, it just can't come fast enough. But with that said, when you have breaks, you have a lot of water lost. They were quite busy, and, you know, we all run from building to vehicle. These are guys who were outside in sub-zero and wind, having to use their hands and, you know, in the water. Certainly far less than pleasant. One of the other things that concern me is we're hearing some recommendations from some smaller municipalities, I believe, I don't know how many are doing it, that they're advising homeowners to keep their water running so they don't freeze up. We had some calls on that today. You may get some calls. We're not advocating for that. It has a lot of potential problems if you do that. You may get dripping water slowly freezing in your drain system, in your septic system. The cost for running water. We had a rather contentious issue a couple of years ago, and I remember looking at some of those stats, a continuous flow of water. And one of the things I heard on the TV was, let it go at about a pencil size.
Oi.
That's a huge amount of water over, you know, until the weather breaks. And when you look at a system as large as ours, we're going to have a problem if someone were to do that. And they're going to have a problem with the cost of the water they're letting run.
Especially if they're on a sewer system.
Oh my goodness. You're absolutely right. It would be terrible. So if you get a call, that is not the town. I don't know what these other municipalities are doing. We don't advise it.
Weren't some of those in Vermont too?
They might have all been in Vermont.
I don't-
But it's a little hard to tell if the news is Vermont or Plattsburgh or
I don't think they've
where.
been advising it in too many places, just selected homes, and that was just selected homes where they were in Winooski, as far as I know.
Yep. But people hear the news and we generalize. I mean, believe me, we had a number of calls today, some not so happy people, when they learned we weren't paying for their water and they should leave it running. So you may get, just, you know, heads up on that. The water, the frost is down. The guys had told me a couple weeks ago it was about 3 feet down. I don't know why it would be any lower since we do have snow coverage.
So it'd be down further than that.
They were saying on whatever news report I saw, which I think was Vermont, that it was 5 feet. Well, at 5 feet, you're going to have problems. Some of our problems aren't just the cold that exasperates it, but again, we've got very old water lines in certain areas. And with or without extremes of temperature, they're breaking, and they need work, so anyway, I wanted to just heads up on that. We are not recommending individuals keep their water running for a number of reasons, and just in case you get a call. All right, that's all I have for the evening. Stay warm.
Thanks for coming, folks. Need anything signed? or
We
anything
are
like
going
that?
to be adjourned at 7:45.